Hello and welcome again to another episode of Natural Juan. And this episode will also be another unscripted episode, which means please get ready if I make a lot of mistakes again. So anyway, this time around we're going to discuss the fighting fantasy games as displayed on my screen here. So anyway, this is Crypt of the Sorcerer by Ian Livingstone. This was probably the first fighting fantasy game book I played, and as you'll see, the fighting fantasy books are designed as solo role-playing games. But anyway, before we continue, I'd like to make a few announcements. So in my channel so far, you've seen that I make videos about tabletop role-playing games. I also mentioned a little bit about telling stories, and you have probably seen some of my attempts at storytelling, such as the world building with Sapiotech, Text of Cthulhu that I was planning that involves the Cthulhu mythos, and there was that short-lived series I wrote called Vivat Rex, which was supposed to be a fanfic of Pathfinder First Edition. Well, the thing is, guys, I'm not exactly going to focus. I'm still going to make videos about tabletop role-playing games and stuff that's related to them, but I'm also going to start to focus, or at least I'm going to work more on writing and narrating stories. And with Vivat Rex, I plan to overhaul that whole series. Like, I intend to make a completely different fantasy series out of it, so that it's no longer, a Pathfinder fanfic, so that Paizo doesn't have any kind of copyright on it anymore, or ownership. From then on, once I get this started, it'll be my story, and no one else, I guess, can claim ownership of it. So anyway, that's just a quick announcement of the things you can expect in the next few weeks, as I'll be focusing more on writing stories. When I say focusing on, it probably means I'll at least make one story related video per week, but I'll still be doing the regular tabletop RPG videos as well. So anyway, if you like my content so far, feel free to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications. Now let's dive right into the fighting fantasy series. So okay, one thing I will say is the first time I actually played a tabletop role-playing game was in elementary school. We played something like Dungeons and Dragons, except I don't really remember all of the details in it. It's just that we played as different types of characters, we fought monsters, that sort of thing. But anyway, it was the fighting fantasy books that really, got my interest in tabletop role-playing games. The only thing I will say that made me kind of sad about this is that they're just single player. So all of these books, like House of Hell, Appointment with Fear, all of these are just solo role-playing games. They're not made for they're not made for a whole party of players. But I will say this much, since I'm mostly covering solo role-playing these days, this is something that you might enjoy if you enjoy solo roleplay. So anyway, let's continue. So these fighting fantasy books were originally started by Ian Livingstone and his friend Steve Jackson. There are other authors that came along the way, but usually most of the books are written by them. So anyway, so maybe you're wondering how this game actually works. Well, okay, so here's Crypt of the Sorcerer. This was the first game book I ever played. So the thing that you'll notice is that all of these books are written in second person. See, it refers to you, the player, like your outstretched hands failed to grasp a branch, or what's this? 3 creatures soon come into view, and you see that they have the bodies of humans, but the heads of rats, see? Or the rock strikes you on the back of the head. So it talks in second person. It talks about you, the reader, or the player. And now, you might wonder how these games are played. Okay, so the requirements are fairly small. All you need is a pair of D6s or two six-sided dice like this, a pen, and a paper. And like me, I just use it. I used to have a hard copy of Crypt of the Sorcerer, but now, see, I just have it on my laptop, and I just play on Notepad now. But back then, I had entire notebooks dedicated to a single game of a fighting fantasy book. So anyway, now, also, you'll notice that in Dungeons and Dragons, you usually have 6 stats, like, what's that? Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma. Here you just have 3, so it's very simple, but take note. This game might be simple, but it is not easy. It's okay. So there you go. You have Skill, Stamina, and Luck. Skill is more about your character's fighting ability. So what happens is, like, if you're fighting a monster, you roll a d6, you add the 5 to your skill, and if it's higher than the monster's own roll, that means you hit the monster. So see, it says here to calculate your skill, you just add 6 to a d6 roll. So say if you roll... you add 6, so you have 7 skill. You have 7 points of attack. Now, the next is the stamina. When you say stamina, this is your character's life points. The minute you run out of stamina, your character is declared dead and you lose, apparently. You have to start over. So, yeah, to calculate your stamina, you take 2 of these, hold 2d6, you roll, you get a 9, and you add 12. So how much is that? Sorry, I'm really bad at math. You guys know that. So that's what, 21? 21, yeah. You get 21 stamina points. And whenever your enemy, your opponent, if they roll a number that is higher than your skill, you must subtract 2 from your 21 stamina points that I mentioned. So that's how this game works. Next is luck. So luck is more or less something extra for this game. According to this game, it works kind of like magic, but it's not exactly true either. So what happens is, so you have luck, right? You have luck. Suppose you have, let's calculate. So 6 plus, ooh, that's a lot of luck points. So you have 12 luck points. So what happens is you subtract from your luck, and whenever you're attacking, you can use your luck to deal additional damage, plus 1 damage, so they'll take 3 damage instead of the usual 2. Or you can mitigate the damage they inflict on you. So instead of you taking 2 damage, you just take 1 damage. So again, that's how this game works. And now, let's move on to the other specifics of this game. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I love these games. I loved them when I was in high school. Yeah, that was when I started playing these games. However, while, like I said, it seems simple enough. It's simpler than Dungeons and Dragons. It's not like, you have a lot of stats like strength, and then you have your skill points such as your persuasion, acrobatics, what's this? Use magical device. What else do I remember? Stealth rolls, stuff like that. This game doesn't have those, but it is very difficult because the path is very limited, as you can see. So For example here, see there? Let's find the 3 creatures soon come into view, and you see that they have bodies of humans but heads of rats. They are covered in short fur and have long rat-like tails. They have already picked up your scent and are ready to fight. The front rat man rolls a sling around his head and releases a stone down the tunnel. Roll 1 die. If you roll 1 to 3, turn to 133. If you roll 4 to 6, turn to 69. So that's how the game works. At the end of every paragraph, you usually have a set of choices. So you either go to that paragraph, like for example, let's go to 133. See, you can see the choices here. Okay, 133. So the dexterous rat man is skilled in the use of the sling, and the sharp stone strikes you. See? And here are more ideas. So you have, like, after leaving the Darkwood Forest behind you, you pass over the western edge of the Moonstone Hills. And it says here, if you are lucky, turn to page 59. If you are unlucky, turn to 160. See, it goes on like that. You go, instead of going from page to page, you go from paragraph to paragraph. Each paragraph will usually contain a set of choices for you, but usually when you don't have any more choices, that means the game is over. Like, here, read this. The chair houses more iron bars, but these are hidden in the back of the chair and are pointed at one end. The hissing voice utters the words, "Death to intruders!" and the spiked bars are rammed into your back. Alancia is doomed. So, there you go. That's the end of one paragraph. No choices. That means game over. So yeah, you see how that is. And this game and all the other games like House of Hell, they're all very limited. Like, if you miss any items or any key events, that could mean game over. Because that could mean either you don't have the right amount of weapons to fight the bad guys, or you missed an event that will change the way things are in the end. So you could end up, fighting an enemy with 3 times the stamina points, or you don't have the weapon, the only weapon that can actually damage them. If you don't have that, it's an automatic game over. You can't win. And that's exactly how this game works. It's very difficult because you have to explore every branch, every nook and cranny, every paragraph to be sure that you got everything that you'll need for the final battle. And sometimes that's not even enough, because sometimes after the final battle you might even have epilogue choices, and if you make all the wrong choices, that could mean a bad ending for your character. So yeah, you really have to explore it. So if you plan on playing these games, and like I said, you've got your dice and your paper, the thing that I got a notebook for just about every game, that's a good idea, because you have to write down where you go, and you have to list down all the items that you pick up, because each one will definitely play a part at the ending. You'll realize that each small detail that you do will have an effect. So you have to be sure to explore everything if you want to win in these kinds of games. So anyway, that's it for this episode of Natural Juan. Now, if you want to see more stuff like this, I might even do, a walkthrough of the various game books that there are. Just subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications. And if you enjoyed this particular video, feel free to like and share. So I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye bye.